As is well known, Apple just included AI inside its phones, and Nvidia is the primary supplier for training AI models. The huge explosion of Nvidia's stock is now just a matter of time. Greetings from Squawk on the Street once again. A new AI-powered iPhone was among the several new goods that Apple announced at the major presentation on Monday. Here to respond to these news are Wall Street Journal and CNBC writer Joanna Stern, as well as Dan Ives of Wedbush, who just increased his price objective for the company from $285 to $300. It's wonderful to have you here, Joanna. You said you understand why the AI software is still in beta after testing out all 4 of the new iPhone models. Could you elaborate on your meaning? The complete Joanna review is required. Joanna Stern, according to the complete evaluation, this is still under beta testing. I had the opportunity to test out some of the features in the beta software that runs on these new phones, and I can say that there are some good features. To make a tech note I was sending to my mom seemed more professional, the writing tools translated it or swiftly summarized it. It's just what I desired. However, this image editing tool wasn't the best when I checked it out. It allows you to take out someone or clean up the background. Not very good. The tech industry is buzzing about Apple's recent revelation that its next iPhone models would incorporate cutting-edge artificial intelligence capabilities. Even if the details of these AI features are still mostly unknown, it is obvious that this breakthrough might have a big impact on Nvidia, a market leader in AI hardware, high-performance graphics processing units GPUs, which are crucial for managing the intricate calculations required for AI applications, were first developed by Nvidia. These GPUs are essential for operating the neural networks that power AI technologies because of their capacity to handle several jobs at once. It is anticipated that as Apple develops its AI capabilities, these advancements would necessitate more potent hardware, which may result in a sharp rise in demand for Nvidia's GPUs, particularly if Apple decides to use Nvidia's cutting-edge AI hardware solutions. Increased GPU sales might help Nvidia by generating more income and earning more profits. Nvidia's market position may be strengthened by this spike in sales, which would solidify its position as the industry leader in AI hardware and possibly increase its negotiating power with suppliers and consumers. Everyone wants to know what the upgrade cycle will entail. I read your piece this morning and was clearly intrigued by the buttons and other features you would have. However, based on your extensive reviews over the years, how confident are you that customers will be convinced to purchase this new phone? Joanna Stern, look, you do realize that Apple used to make their S models. Compared to the preceding generation, the transition was gradual. They began using whole numbers instead of doing that. An S model is this one. This is not a major hardware boost when you consider the hardware modifications. Examining this is crucial given the current significance of the software. Indeed, these AI features won't be available right away. That seems okay to me. I don't believe that many people are rushing to purchase these phones for AI, and I'm sure Dan will be on here. They need to replace their outdated phones, thus they are running out of time to purchase these phones. They're receiving major hardware upgrades when you consider what they're replacing, which may be a phone from 2 to 3 years ago or 4 years ago. There is still time for them to receive software upgrades. They are also experiencing notable gains in battery life. You heard Joanna, Dan, particularly for those upgrading from a few generations ago, they are receiving larger screens, higher processors, and longer battery life. However, AI is not going away. What do you think, Dan? Dan Ives, it's twofold, you see. Out of the 1.5 billion iPhones worldwide, 300 million have not received an upgrade in more than 4 years. I'm in Asia now for the second time in the past 6 weeks because of this. The supply chain as a whole indicates that builds are rising, up 10 million from the first estimate. That suggests that this could be a historic year for Apple if this trajectory continues, even before the company fully implements its AI capabilities. This might be their largest unit year ever, in my opinion. And this is only the prelude to what I see as an impending supercycle driven by AI. Host, what is a supercycle exactly, Dan? What distinguishes it from a normal cycle of upgrades? Dan Ives, anything over 230 million units is, in my opinion, a supercycle. And based on our observations, this might amount to 240 million or even 250 million units. Joanna's assessment of the upgrade cycle is accurate. We have never witnessed such a high level of pent-up demand. However, considering Apple Intelligence, 20% of people worldwide may be able to get AI through Cupertino. For the iPhone 16, iPhone 17, and later, that is the secret to a multi-year upgrading cycle. For this reason, I have set a price objective of $300, and I think this company will be worth $4 trillion in a year. Host, what about this morning's European court decision against Apple, Dan? Does all of this get dampened by it? They were forced to pay back taxes totaling $13 billion. Dan Ives, yes, I have been keeping up with this case for a very long time. It has continued for nearly 8 years. This is merely a quarterly fee because Apple has already set aside funds for it. It's not a huge deal, as crazy as it sounds. This was what investors anticipated. These problems will persist in Brussels and the Beltway, but investors will ignore them. The AI consumer revolution is already underway in Cupertino, and Apple's renaissance of growth is ahead. Host, let me end with you, Joanna. When do you believe the generative AI in this phone will encourage people to purchase it? Joanna Stern, I believe it will take at least 6 months, if not a year, for all of the capabilities that Apple unveiled at WWDC in June to be available on phones. While some of the AI tools, such as writing and photo editing, will be useful, they are not the main drivers. I believe that greater interest will be sparked once those features are released into the social media ecosystem and people can see what they can do. In the meanwhile, Nvidia's stock price may grow if it realizes large financial gains from this increasing demand, which would further boost investor confidence. However, this could be influenced by a number of circumstances. Other chip makers like AMD and Intel, which are also making significant investments in AI hardware, are fierce rivals of Nvidia. Nvidia's market share may be impacted by this competitive environment. Furthermore, Apple has a history of creating its own exclusive hardware. Apple may lessen its reliance on Nvidia if it decides to make significant investments in the development of own AI chips. Finally, how well Apple's AI features are received by customers will determine their success. The expected demand for hardware may be low if the features don't catch on. In conclusion, Nvidia has a bright future as a result of Apple's decision to include AI in its upcoming iPhone models. Nvidia's stock price may rise significantly if it can successfully take advantage of this. However, the magnitude of Nvidia's possible benefits would depend on a number of things, including consumer reaction, Apple's internal advances, and market rivalry. Host Joanna, you raised some really good issues regarding Apple's AI features' possible slow customer adoption. Better screens, CPUs, and batteries appear to be the main reasons why many consumers are updating their phones rather than AI at this time. In light of that, Dan, do you believe that the so-called supercycle will be slowed down by this postponed AI rollout? And how does that relate to the possible advantages of Nvidia? Dan Ives, it's a reasonable query. It's crucial to remember that the supercycle is powered by more than just AI, even though the AI elements itself might take some time to completely permeate consumers' daily lives. We're talking about 300 million iPhones that haven't been updated in years, as Joanna mentioned. That alone generates enormous demand. The important thing is that we'll probably see another wave of excitement that can prolong this upgrade cycle once Apple begins implementing these AI features over the course of the next 6 to 12 months. The immediate advantage for Nvidia isn't limited to customers utilizing AI on their phones. More sophisticated AI hardware will be required by Apple, whether for boosting user experiences, developing backend infrastructure, or upgrading AI services. The development and operation of these systems depend heavily on Nvidia's GPUs. Since Nvidia is still the market leader in AI computer hardware, it will profit if Apple's AI capabilities advance. Dan Ives, without a doubt, Nvidia faces competition. AMD and Intel are making significant investments in AI hardware and are seeing progress. However, Nvidia has a significant technological and market share advantage. When it comes to AI calculations, their GPUs are the best. For example, due to their unmatched performance, their A100 and H100 chips are frequently utilized in AI model training. Not only is speed important, but so is efficiency and the capacity to handle enormous volumes of data at once, something Nvidia is excellent at.